Hey, my name is David, and I have a question. What's really happening out here on this farm? A few weeks ago, I was asked by Mr. Ellis, an old family friend, to look after his farm. He's the kind of guy who never takes a vacation, who has worked this land for decades without a break. So when he finally decided to take a much-needed trip, I figured watching the place for a few weeks would be an easy gig. The farm is far from town, nestled between fields and thick forests. A quiet, isolated piece of land that felt like a perfect getaway from my usual life. I imagined I'd spend my days tending to the animals and maybe get some writing done at night. What I didn't expect was the creeping sense of dread that's slowly taken over my every waking moment. The first few days were quiet, peaceful even. I woke up early, fed the animals, watered the crops, and then spent the rest of the day exploring the land or sitting on the porch with a beer. At night, the stars came out in droves, more than I'd ever seen back in the city. The kind of quiet where you can hear the wind rustle through the corn, where you can feel the earth beneath your feet. It was idyllic, perfect, until the third night. I was sitting on the porch, watching the sun dip below the horizon, casting long shadows across the fields. It was that magical time of day when everything was bathed in a golden glow, and for a moment, I felt at peace. Then, something caught my eye, a figure standing at the edge of the woods. At first, I thought it was just a trick of the light, but as I squinted, I saw it clearly. A person, standing perfectly still among the trees. They were too far away for me to make out any details, but the way they stood there, not moving, just watching, sent a chill down my spine. I waved, but there was no response. I called out, "Hey!" But my voice seemed to die in the thick air, swallowed by the trees. I waited for a few minutes, hoping they'd move or say something, but they just stood there, still as a statue. I got up from the porch, took a few steps toward the figure, but when I blinked, they were gone. Just like that. One moment there, the next vanished. I told myself it was nothing. Maybe I'd imagined it. Maybe it was just a shadow or a trick of the fading light. But that night, as I lay in bed, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. And then I heard footsteps. They were slow, deliberate, circling the house. I sat up in bed, my heart pounding in my chest, listening intently. The footsteps were faint, but unmistakable, like someone was walking barefoot across the dirt, right outside my window. I held my breath, waiting for the sound to stop, but it didn't. It continued, slow and steady, moving from one side of the house to the other. I got up, heart racing, and peeked out the window. Nothing. No one was there. But the next morning, I found footprints. They were large, deep prints in the dirt, leading from the edge of the woods straight to the house, stopping just a few feet from the front door. It was as if someone had been standing there, watching, before disappearing without a trace. I tried to brush it off, telling myself it was probably just some local kids messing around. But as the days went on, things only got stranger. I started noticing small, unsettling details around the farm. The animals were acting nervous, especially the chickens, who huddled together in the coop at night, refusing to venture outside. The cows were restless, and the dog, who usually roamed the property freely, seemed skittish, sticking close to the house and barking at nothing. Then I found the first doll. It was lying near the barn, small and crudely made, fashioned out of twigs and straw, with hollow pits where the eyes should have been. At first I thought it was just some odd piece of junk, maybe something Mr. Ellis had used as a scarecrow. But the more I looked at it, the more unsettling it became. It didn't feel like a simple object. It felt wrong, like there was something off about it, something malevolent. I threw it into the trash, not wanting to think about it any longer. But the next day, there was another one. This one was more twisted, its arms bent at odd angles, and it had been placed directly in front of the chicken coop, as if someone or something wanted me to find it. That night, I heard the voice for the first time. It was soft at first, barely a whisper carried on the wind, but then it grew louder, more insistent, until I couldn't ignore it anymore. "David," the voice called, a raspy, breathy sound that sent a chill down my spine. "David, come outside." I stayed in bed, my heart pounding, refusing to move. But the voice didn't stop. It continued, calling my name over and over again, as if it was trying to lure me out of the house. I covered my ears, trying to block it out, but the whispering grew louder, more desperate. And then, just as suddenly as it had started, it stopped. The next morning, I found something else waiting for me outside. Another doll, this one larger and more grotesque, with its head twisted all the way around, facing backward. I felt sick looking at it, a deep sense of unease settling over me. I tried calling Mr. Ellis, telling him about what had been happening, but he brushed it off. "Oh, it's probably just the local kids playing tricks," he said, though I could hear the hesitation in his voice. "Don't worry about it. Nothing ever happens out there. The farm's always been a bit strange, but it's harmless." Harmless? I wasn't so sure anymore. The nights continued to get worse. The voice came back, louder and closer each time, calling my name from just outside the window. And then there were the footsteps again, circling the house, slower this time, as if whatever was out there was toying with me. I started leaving the lights on, hoping it would keep whatever it was at bay, but it didn't help. One night I woke up to the sound of the barn door creaking open. I grabbed a flashlight and cautiously made my way outside, my heart racing as I approached the barn. The air was thick with tension, and the only sound was the crunch of gravel beneath my feet. When I reached the barn, the door was slightly ajar, swaying gently in the breeze. I shined the flashlight inside, and that's when I saw him. He was standing in the corner of the barn, his back to me, his tall, hunched frame almost blending into the shadows. He was wearing an old, tattered coat, and his hands hung limply at his sides. I froze, my breath catching in my throat. Something about him was wrong. His posture, his stillness. It didn't feel right. "Hey!" I called out, my voice shaking. "What are you doing here?" He didn't move. I took a step closer, my flashlight flickering slightly. I said, "What are you doing here?" Slowly, he turned to face me. I wish I could unsee it. His face, if you could call it that, was a twisted, unnatural mask of pale skin stretched too tightly over his skull. His eyes were sunken, black holes, and his mouth was sewn shut, thick black stitches crisscrossing his lips in a grotesque smile. I stumbled backward, nearly dropping the flashlight. He took a step toward me, his movements jerky, unnatural, like he wasn't used to his own body. I turned and ran, sprinting back to the house as fast as I could. I didn't stop until I was inside, locking every door and window behind me. I spent the rest of the night huddled in the living room, clutching a kitchen knife, listening for any sign that he was still out there. But there was nothing, just silence. The next day, I found more footprints around the house, larger this time, deeper, like something heavy had been standing just outside, watching. And then there were more dolls, dozens of them, scattered across the yard, each one more twisted and malformed than the last. I tried to leave. I packed up my things, got into the truck, and drove down the dirt road, desperate to get away from the farm. But no matter how far I drove, the road never seemed to end. It was like I was trapped in a loop, the same stretch of road repeating over and over again. After hours of driving, I found myself back at the farm, right where I started. The whispers returned that night, louder than ever. They were inside the house now, circling me, taunting me. "David," they whispered, "you can't leave. This is your home now. I don't know how long I can last." The figure is closer now, appearing outside the windows, always watching, always waiting. The dolls are multiplying, surrounding the house, their hollow eyes following my every move. The animals are frantic, sensing the same danger I feel. Mr. Ellis won't be back for another week, but I don't think I'll make it that long. Whatever is out there, it's getting bolder, and I think it's only a matter of time before it gets inside. If anyone's listening this, please listen to me. There's something wrong with this place, something ancient, something evil, and it won't let me leave. If I don't make it out of here, tell Mr. Ellis, I'm sorry.